All right, we're talking to Ryan Verrill, aka Disconnected, a very cool YouTube channel that I've just gotten hip to, and it's I'm keen on this interaction. I've been jazzed ever since I hopped on your live and said hello. So hello, nice to meet you.
Hello, thank you. Good to meet you in person virtually.
Yeah, right. From the comment section to the Zoom call.
It's a lot more personal this way. I love that.
Shit, yeah, man. So we're going to talk about some Blu-ray sale action that went down on Black Friday. Before we do, though, you can give a synopsis answer to this if you feel like, but we can go into it too. Please introduce yourself. What do you do for work offline? Or do you work online? I don't know. And how long have you had your YouTube channel? And why do you want to start your YouTube channel?
Cool. So offline, I'm actually a semi-high-ranking federal officer with the U.S. government in immigration.
Oh wow!
And yeah, I spend a lot of my time doing that. That's for sure. I have been doing YouTube. Gosh, not very long, to be honest. Only about 9 months or so actively. And I set a few goals, and once I met them, that's when the live show started. And that's when things have really taken off. And we've got a decent little community, people that show up literally every single week, eager to talk it out. Let's see. That's the big deal. The reason I started it primarily was just to share my collection to begin with. I started off as a Instagram and just kind of started sharing a couple like shelf pictures, and noticed that there was some people that were unhappy with the announcements that were coming out, because there is one major competing announcements page that everybody follows for Blu-ray announcements. And while I respect what they do, I think that there's some things that could be a lot better. And I tried to be a more positive impact to the community. And so taking some of what I know from the industry, I tried to set out to be that positive alternative. And then everything suddenly exploded. I went from like a handful of followers to getting a ton overnight, and everybody's seemingly going to me for announcements a lot of the time. A lot of people have stopped following the other page, which that wasn't really my goal. It's just, another version to have an alternative. And yeah, it's been really positive. And I've even talked to a couple of people from labels that I know, and they are happier with another page being out there.
Can I say the page we're referring to, or we're going to just
of course, yeah.
Dawn of the Discs, right?
Yeah, that is the other one, yes.
So they're seen as sort of you know a lot more about the physical media element than I do. So yeah, let's break it down. Let's not be coy about this. So I've seen people like write comments like the culture vultures and stuff. Like,
yeah.
So break that down. Well, why are they called that?
The biggest thing that a lot of people have not liked with Dawn of the Discs is that they hype up around leaks. And unfortunately, when you own or run or are employed by or anything with a label, whether that be music or video, I mean, this is the same sort of thing that, stuff with Napster and all that. It's not quite pirating, but it's the same thing where you're taking away full on hype behind somebody's release. And the biggest example of that this year is when the 5 Halloween movies got announced for coming to 4K from Scream Factory. And this, the funny thing is, it's technically not Dawn of the Disc's fault. They sent the images to a retailer, and they had it out on their site freely available before Scream Factory announced it. And they found it, and they posted it, and it went viral. And Scream Factory sent them a cease and desist that day because they were so unhappy with it. I don't agree with the cease and desist necessarily, but also I don't ever post leaks. I only post things when they've ever been press released. They are something that people are freely announcing, and all I do is try to be a page that people can go to see everything together, rather than you following 15 different labels or even more. You can come to one place and get them all at once. So there are literally people from other labels that I've spoken to that have called him names because they are unhappy with the way that he runs his page.
All right. Okay. So like, I will say, like, I've gotten screeners, and they're embargoed, like they're review embargoed. And I have accidentally not realized that. And then like producers get pissed off. Like they don't like that.
Of
Like
course.
those dates are there for a reason. Like if like to do a review before a premiere definitely takes buzz away. And I always apologize
Absolutely.
and do what I can to remedy the situation. So to go out there and do that is sketchy for sure.
Yep. And unfortunately, it just happened again for Black Friday. There was some people that wasn't Dawn of the Discs that went out to a common review site and literally just trawled through their URLs to see if they could find any titles. And it just so happened that they leaked all of Vinegar Syndrome's Black Friday titles before they were announced.
Yes, they
And
did.
Black Friday for Vinegar Syndrome is the event of the year. It is a giant deal for that company. And then Dawn of the Discs went and posted them hours before the sale.
So that's how they did it. That's interesting. Damn.
Yep.
Damn. It's like I'm a collector, but I'm sort of, my next question is basically, how did you meet these people within the industry? Like I've talked to like Joe Rubin and David Gregory in the show, but like you when I've watched your content, you're way more engaged with the inner workings of these labels than I have been. So how did you come like how did that work? How did that gel?
This is where it's going to get really funny because
Yeah.
I'm not super close with any of them.
Right.
I've literally reached out and just connected with a couple of them over a handful of messages and made a couple small relationships. But in all reality, I just do my research and then compile it for everybody else. And I'd rather save everybody else the time and be that go-to person that somebody can come to and trust because there are a lot of physical media Blu-ray channels, and unfortunately, a lot of them they guess on a lot of things. They say things and steer their viewers in the wrong direction. One of the biggest examples of that is around the whole idea of region coding. And for people that don't know, there are 3 different Blu-ray region codes in the entire world. And somebody will come on and say, this is region B locked or this one's region free. And somebody will go out and purchase that disc expecting what that person said to be true without doing their own research, but it's not. And there's a lot of times that there are underlying reasons for that. And I've spent multiple times on my channel trying to explain just the idea of region locking to people. So, and that's just one very small slice of the entire boutique physical media thing. It was just a really easy example to go to.
So you can get a region free player though, right?
You can. Most of the time, they are technically not region free players. They are a region locked player that has been modified to play another region, but then you have to go and change the region that it's currently locked to. So when everybody says they have a region free player, it's usually somebody like in the US and they change it to be a European player at the moment so that it will recognize European discs while it's locked in region B. And then when you're done, you just change it back to region A. But it has the ability to switch when most commercially available Blu-ray players are region locked and they don't have that ability.
Yeah, I'm in region A. I'm in Canada, so I don't feel. Sometimes I'll see something like from 88 Films or Eureka or maybe just an Arrow like British exclusive, and I'm just like, damn, that looks good. But I haven't pulled the trigger on that one. I don't know.
That makes sense. And literally about 20 minutes ago, I just got done giving somebody some advice that they were turned off by the price of them. And an idea for you potentially is I told them, you don't need a region free player. Go to amazon.co.uk and just buy a region B player. And now you have 2, and now it's permanently set up on your system. And you can just change the input to that other HDMI and watch it. So it's always on there. You don't have to worry about changing the software every time.
That is helpful advice. If I decide to do that, if I decide to go that route,
it's the cheapest one by far. That's literally only like $40.
Oh, damn. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Shit. Now I'm getting close to pulling the trigger. All right, so that's interesting. So you where do you read this stuff? You said you do your own research. Where do you get it? Like press releases from the official companies and
press releases, and then I know a lot of the way that like licenses and contracts work, and a lot of people do not grasp that because they've never been involved in that. Back in the day, I was involved in the music industry a little bit. I volunteered with the radio station. I've done some music videos. I'm friends with some bands, so a lot of that I've been on the inside to recognize some of those contracts and the way that they're negotiated. So I try to break that down for others. But then on top of that, just because I know a little bit how contracts work through my job, I can apply that to this situation and explain that in a way that is more understandable for everybody else.
That's crazy. So you come at it from like a bureaucratic angle.
Exactly.
And that's fun. That's funny. That's really
And,
funny.
and I work a lot in training, so that's kind of the way that I approached the YouTube channel when I was doing this. Is instead of just being highly entertaining, if you
Yeah.
are somebody that has a lot of knowledge, you
Mm.
are somebody that people will gravitate to as well.
Definitely. Okay. Okay. And what was the radio station you worked for?
Back in, oh gosh, 2003 through about 6 or 7, I was still in my super religious years of my life, where my
Mm?
parents forced me into. And
Oh,
there's a Christian radio station in the US called Air One,
okay.
and one of their offshoots in Southern California, I volunteered with through a friend of mine, and it led to meeting some pretty big bands at the time.
Cool.
It's weird. Some of them I've seen turn into random people that you find on Fox News nowadays because they're associated with Christianity. So yeah,
Right.
there's been some weird changes, but yeah, I met a lot of bands that way. I've hosted shows in my living room. I've had bands sleep in my house. I've been in 2 or 3 different music videos. I've been a location scout for music videos. I've done all kinds of stuff.
That's pretty funny. I remember watching a buddy send me a clip of one of the guitarists from Korn, and he was on Mike Huckabee's show, and they were throwing down, they were jamming on Fox News.
Yep.
It was a very memorable bit.
That was Brian Head Welch.
Right.
And
Yeah.
funny random story is I went to Blue Man Group in Las Vegas with him.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's
That's
a good
good
time.
stuff. Good stuff. All right. Yeah, 'cause I just asked 'cause I was a radio host for a while. I just quit last week. I was doing it for
You
6
certainly
years.
got the voice for it.
Thank you. This is one thing people would say to me. They say, "Man, you got a good voice for radio." And I said, "I do have a radio show." But
It's
I was
easy
doing.
promotion.
Say again, sorry.
It's easy promotion.
Heck yeah, man. Good segue. But yeah, I was doing like film industry interviews, and then I was just like, easy recycled material for YouTube. And then
Right.
it's just got way too crazy making shows during COVID. I had to do stuff from home. It was just like it was way harder than going live. And I was
Of
like,
course.
this is too much. I'm just gonna stay on YouTube.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff for sure. Anyways, so this is definitely the lengthiest question I have. This is in a lot of chunks. We're going to go through this. If you have the time, if you're up for it.
Of course.
Okay, cool. Because I've seen your streams. You go for like 2 hours. It's impressive.
Yeah, the longest I think that we've gone recently is 3.5.
Oh,
And I do a show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays I have a
yeah.
co-host, and we generally have a theme and all that. But last Tuesday we happened to have a guest, a friend of mine from Southern California that's a stand-up comedian, and we were live for just over 3 hours. And then afterwards we just stayed on, and just the 3 of us, and just shared stories for like another 2 hours. And I was sick when we did it. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how I made it through that week, but it was a good time.
But it was fun, right?
Absolutely.
I'm working on it, like my stream strength. You're inspiring me. Like as you and Joe Rogan. Like if you could go for like 3.5 hours, it's good stuff though. I'm used to just like condensing. Like a certain amount of time for the publicist, and it's totally
Right.
different. But I'm trying to branch out, man. I'm not trying to be a fossil over here. But anyways,
It's a lot.
yeah, man. So my question, I'm gonna break down what I ordered on Black Friday.
Nice.
And you're gonna tell me how I did in the end.
Okay.
I'm getting a disconnected report card right now.
Let's do it.
Okay, perfect. So I ordered from Vinegar Syndrome this time. I'm sort of a Severin baby, but
Interesting.
I'm a Severin guy for sure. But I'm not like I'm not a loyalist. I'm not in a cult. It's like I got stuff from Vinegar Syndrome. I got stuff from Arrow. I got Criterion. I don't think.
And the Al Adamson set behind you, so that's
yeah,
amazing.
man. Yeah, and I got Battles Without Honor and Humanity. That's a rare one now. That goes for a lot on eBay. And
oh yeah,
but yeah, whatever. And I got a little giallo shelf right here.
Very nice.
All
And then
kinds of
a
stuff.
tribute to Mr. Fulci there. Gotta love that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Fulci's my guy. I'm very excited for that Contraband release. I've been wanting that for a
Me too.
long time. Oh, that's great. But anyways, yeah, I went for Vinegar Syndrome this time. The reason why is because the 7
Let,
edition.
let me guess. Let me guess before you answer.
Yeah.
Shipping costs.
I don't mind that. I wanted it to arrive during the Christmas time.
Got it.
And I knew
That makes sense.
it wouldn't. Yeah. That was really just number one. Just want to have there's definitely stuff I could have pulled the trigger on that I don't have from 7. But
Right.
there's stuff that I'm missing more stuff from Vinegar Syndrome. And I can have it around the holiday season. That's enough of a reason for me. Anyways, and Vinegar Syndrome is sort of your jam.
They are as you can see here, all of those are all of the Vinegar Syndrome releases. I have every single one they've ever put out.
Oh my God. Everything.
The checklist they have on their website, I have every single thing marked as owned.
And you are a yearly subscriber.
Yes, sir.
And so how much money do you save by doing that? Probably a significant. Yeah.
My calculations, and I put up a video on my channel last week on this very specific thing because people ask this every single time. And what I found out is that I could only find my receipts for the last 3 years. And if you do the annual subscription, the first year they were averaging for every single release about $18.60 per release, brand new with the slipcover, shipped to you first before everybody else. And that includes all of the 4K releases and box sets. The next year they were averaging just under 20. It was like 1950 or 1980, something like that. And then the next year it was a little bit higher. It was like $20.50 or $21, something like that per release. But still, that is for box sets, for 4Ks, for everything. And you get free shipping all year round. So you are saving a boatload of money.
Yes. And if you're going to go for all of it,
Absolutely.
Okay. I was more selective. I haven't worked my way up to that yet. It's something I see, but I don't even consider at this point. Anyway,
right.
So I'm going to break it down. So I did the pre-order though for the first time this year.
Nice.
To lock in, I'm shipped right after subscribers, and it's great as well because again, 7 they ship from Arizona. Vinegar Syndrome they got a nice little Toronto guy.
Yep.
And so I'm gonna get it fast. But I locked in with the shipping cost and Flesh for Frankenstein. I went for that one because I also did pull the trigger on Blood for Dracula, and so now I can do a Flesh for Frankenstein, Blood for Dracula double book.
They I've got the Blood for Dracula release and I've watched it this year on my 4K, and I can't wait to see Flesh for Frankenstein because I believe the restoration were both done at the exact same time. And if Blood for Dracula looks this good, Flesh for Frankenstein is the better film. I can't wait to see how that shines.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah.
And so it comes with the glasses though.
Yes.
1 pair or 2 pairs?
2 pairs.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And when it's when we're talking about 3D, this is actually going to be a multiple disc set because you have the 4K, you have the 3D Blu-ray, and then you have the flat Blu-ray as well. So no matter how you want to watch this, you can do it. But then the 3D, not only do they have the anaglyph for the glasses, but they also have the active 3D. So if you have a 3D TV, you can watch it on there as well.
I do not have a 3D TV, but I'm
Either
more
do I.
stuff with the lo-fi vibe, anyways. Like to watch it in a sort of way that they did in the 70s.
Right. And I really wish 3D was still a thing in North America because it's not anywhere. In Europe and Asia, they still sell a lot of 3D panels, but they're not even actively being produced here.
Damn. One thing I was kind of hoping for was the soundtrack, because I love the Blood for Dracula soundtrack.
Right.
It's a good CD.
Unfortunately, that is a rarity for Vinegar Syndrome. I think
Yeah, they don't
they've
really do
only
CDs.
done, oh gosh, I think their entire life of the label probably less than 15, and I don't even think
Mm,
it's 15 to be honest.
yeah, but they do records.
Correct.
Yeah. Do you listen to records?
I try. I currently do not have a working record player, but
Mm,
I do have a lot of my old records still. I
nice.
do still keep up on the Vinegar Syndrome records. Just I do plan on getting another one. It's just
Mhm.
been a busy time.
Hasn't happened yet. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. I
Yep.
I just got a record player. First
Nice.
time record player owner, and I got an Audio Technica. And
Very smart choice.
yes, I took my time with this. I got the speakers first. I have some big ass edifiers, and,
Very
and I
nice.
got the Audio Technica. I got a crazy sound system
It saddens me every time I see somebody post that they're excited that they got a
now.
record player and it ends up being like a Crosley Walmart version or something.
Yeah, you got to do your research, babe, because it's gonna
Yep.
damage your records, and it sucks, and you're a poser.
Immediately.
But I actually I'm bringing all this up because I got two records from Vinegar Syndrome this time. I got Commando Ninja, and
Nice.
yeah, I got that. That was in like the first 10 minutes. I got it because that thing sold out.
Oh yeah.
And I also got Last House on Dead End Street.
Yep, that one has been getting low for quite some time. That's a good one.
And it's sold out, but maybe it'll come back.
Yep.
What do you think?
This one I don't think has been limited. However,
Mm.
I've seen them dropping the number that they've been making, so I see them quietly just putting that one to bed eventually.
Ooh, lucky me. I I recently rewatched that movie, and that's a tough movie.
Yeah, and unfortunately, no actual release of that yet. However, I
Mm.
don't know if that's how you watched it, but it is available from Vinegar Syndrome.
Oh, I
Did
saw it
you
on
know that?
Tubi.
Is that
No, I didn't know
okay?
that.
So
That oh, that's good.
it, it is available from Vinegar Syndrome as an Easter egg on the disc. The movie's called Corruption.
Oh,
It is an adult title, and if you go on the menu and press some of the arrows in a certain way, you can watch a rough version of it. It hasn't been remastered properly,
oh,
but you
that's
can watch
funny.
the entire movie.
That's too funny. Corruption, and it's like a
Yep,
porno.
it's more like one of the roughies that they
Yeah,
call it. It's a hardcore title. It's not you're not going to watch it to get turned on, basically.
that's funny. I'm a big fan. I'm so pissed. Actually, man, I lost my Sex World CD. We're talking about the CDs. I don't know where the hell it is.
That's tough.
That's rough, man. And they had that on vinyl, but no more. So
Yep,
Porno music slams. It's
it
a lot of
is
fun.
surprisingly great. Surprisingly great.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And Commando Ninja, what are your thoughts of that film?
It's new, but
Mhm.
it is new, but feels like it was aged properly
Mhm.
before we watched it. It is cheeky in all the right ways. It is certainly cheesy, but it
Yeah.
hits so many different genres that I think everybody can enjoy at least a part of that film, and more people need to see it.
Yeah, for sure. It's fun. I think like I got really excited about the trailer, and I watched it on YouTube. That was great. I that was an easy decision to make.
Yep.
But it's sort of what it kind of to me. I would sell it as like a live action Kung Fury to someone.
Yeah, that
If
makes
you like
sense.
Kung Fury, you'll probably like this.
Exactly. That and something like Miami Connection.
Yeah, definitely. Which is I hate that I don't have that record because they sold that on the halfway to Black Friday sale.
Pretty much immediately.
Yeah, like within like 10 minutes.
Yep.
Fuck. So okay. Next thing, I decided to go for the Rudy Ray Moore box set, which I almost regret as I already own the movies and essentially I spent money. What I actually did spend money on a box, a piece of cardboard.
But the art on that is amazing, and even though you don't have the box and you have the movies already,
Hmm,
this is going to be a really good way to actually display it on the shelf. And
true.
seeing as what you got behind you, you do take a lot of that
I already
seriously.
know where it's gonna go for
So
sure.
there you go. Then it was worth the investment.
I hope so. I hope so. Like, I'm to tell you some Rudy Ray Moore stories. I was in LA almost 3 years ago now. Actually, it was March or late February 2019, and I went to Amoeba Records and got lots of great vinyl. Even though I just got a record player, I would play vinyl on the radio all the time.
Yep.
And I have a 1976 vinyl of Petey Wheatstraw.
That is my favorite of those 4 films.
Petey Wheatstraw. It's definitely a fun record. And also,
yeah,
I was walking down the streets of Toronto during TIFF in 2019, and I had just seen Parasite, and it was introduced by Bong Joon-ho. Very cool. And I'm walking down the streets. I'm about to go to a party by a Canadian distributor, and I see a Facebook friend of mine, but I've never met the guy. But he wrote "Dolomite Is My Name," Larry Karaszewski, and I see him on the street, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is happening!" And I'm looking at him, but I'm not saying anything. And he's looking at me, and he's like, "When are you gonna say something? This is weird." And I put it up. I say, "Dolomite Is My Name." And he says, "You got it." And we talked for, I don't know, 5 minutes, 2 minutes. He was there with his wife, who's, looking good, just came in from LA. And we talked about, he loves the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-rays for those movies. We talked about that for, whatever. We brought it up.
They did really good work, and they brought a lot of attention to that. And the very first Dolomite film, after Vinegar Syndrome put that out, that got re-released and repackaged in a weird little like budget type of Blu-ray, and it's being sold in Walmart with Vinegar Syndrome's logo on it. So they've done a lot of work and brought a lot of recognition to that film. But obviously, "Dolomite Is My Name" brought a lot more recognition to it.
Yeah. I want to read that book, because the guy who does the commentary tracks it's great.
Yeah.
The level of detail is great.
I need that book. It looks incredible.
I think it might come back. I'm not sure. Hopefully. But yeah, that was my first Vinegar Syndrome sale. I went for the Rudy Ray Moore movies, Welcome Home, Brother Charles.
And MMA, nice.
Yeah, I had MMA. And then I threw in Blue Velvet too. So I think that was a pretty good start.
Yeah, that's something that they used to be a little more known for. Back in, gosh, I think those were first released in 2015 or 16,
a
while ago now, and they have not done a lot more with blaxploitation. Obviously, those were licensed in a big bundle. I wish they got some more, but maybe. I mean, look at that. Now there's crossover. They did the Sweet Badass Song, and now that's in the Criterion collection.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunately I've talked to Joe Rubin, and I was talking to a guy today from New York City. He's a programmer of he started with the New York Asian Film Festival, and he does stuff. And it's like, I wish there was more blaxploitation and kung fu on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
I just do.
Well, it sounds like with this Ebola syndrome release that we might be getting more Hong Kong cinema through Vinegar Syndrome. So that's something I'm really excited for.
I hope so. But I think, like, unfortunately, it's like a lot of white people buying Blu-rays to watch other white people, to be like really reductive.
To a point, yes. But I think that there are a lot more Hong Kong fans out there than you think.
What I'm really hoping for is the Shaw Scope box set, like, just this crazy business.
It already has. I know a couple of the retailers, and they are shocked with how good it's been selling. But beyond that, I mean, we have 88 films that have been doing consistent great work with Hong Kong cinema. Eureka in the UK has supposedly they've made a pledge to put out one Hong Kong movie every single month for all of 2022.
Oh wow!
And so far, they have announced up through March, and they are keeping to that so far.
That's awesome. And like, I'm a white person who has a lot of movies with white people too. I'm not like trying to, like, hate on white people.
Of course.
And I actually watched Ebola Syndrome, and like a horrible rip on YouTube just the other day, and it was hysterical. Great movie.
It is a much better movie than people think.
I was watching a YouTuber talking about how, like, basically criticizing how it's hateful, but that's why I
Yeah.
liked it, you know. But I mean, like, it's a crazy movie.
It really is.
And I'm going to be interviewing Sam Deegan about it soon.
Nice.
Yeah, because he's got the commentary
Sam,
track on that movie.
Sam is one of the most valuable assets that we have in the physical media market. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Anytime that name comes up on a disc, whether it be a commentary, interview, featurette, does a lot of essays on discs. It is something that everybody should own because she will. It's a class, literally.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's the shit.
Yep.
I've interviewed her twice. We talked about The Tenant by Polanski, and we talked about her new book about World War II and art house cinema.
Nice.
Yeah, she's cool. She's good people. Who are your favorite
Yeah,
commentators?
Ooh, I mean, Sam's up there. Kat
Yeah.
Ellinger's up there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the two of them are twins, basically.
Yeah.
Amazing.
They're the daughters.
Nathaniel Thompson. Yep. Nathaniel
Yeah.
Thompson is great.
Mhm.
There are so
Do you like
many.
Troy?
Troy Howarth is amazing.
Mhm.
I really started with Troy with his books. I don't think I'd actually heard any of his commentaries before I read a couple of his books,
Mhm.
and he is just fantastic wealth of knowledge. The biggest thing lately, though, is just finding those niche commentaries where they're actually finding the creators again, which it seemed to go away for a long time. And
Yeah.
as much as I love being schooled by these film historians, and please continue doing that, but I really wish more of these labels went to the purpose of finding the original creators and trying to get a voice to that, because it's very valuable when you can look back, literally in some of these cases 50 years ago of what I was doing and get actual word on it. I mean, it's not a commentary, but a really good example of that is the Arrow release of Django. And Franco Nero was 26 when he recorded Django in I think they filmed in 65 into 66, released in 66. So he did some interviews on that with Arrow live in like 2017. And that's 51 years in the past. And he's literally recounting some of these stories like they're yesterday. And it's crazy to see that complete generational change that we can't even possibly fathom, because it's a completely different world nowadays.
I agree, and I love the historians that you mentioned, and it would be great if there were like 2 commentary tracks.
Oh yeah, and that's why, like, I don't know if you've seen it, but on my channel we've kind of been ripping Criterion Collection a little bit over the last few months, because they are slowly falling off of that. It seems like they're not doing any new commentary tracks. Citizen Kane finally just got one for the first time, but a lot of their stuff, that it's just not getting anything new in terms of a full commentary, which that's what they were known for. They were the gold standard of boutique labels, and now Vinegar Syndrome is schooling them.
I know, and like we need like a good Criterion, right?
Absolutely.
Because Vinegar Syndrome and everyone else has their own Roadhouse.
Exactly.
But it sucks to see Criterion, I don't know, like be a boomer, I guess. I don't know, like be antiquated. Like it's just like, it stinks. It stinks. Because there's no one's going to take that lane from them.
No, I think the closest one is probably Eureka, but that, again, it's the UK, and they don't have as wide of a net to cast, unfortunately. And their Masters of Cinema line is amazing, and it's very artist focused. It's very sometimes art house focused, and really going forward through something that is, like, not to use a cliche term nowadays, but pure cinema. It's something that they are trying to deliver to that consumer in just that exact way that they need. But then you have companies like Severin that you and I both love that go out there, and Severin is known for helping other labels get really good special features. That's one of David Gregory's bread and butter. They do really great documentaries. The Dawn of the Dead release from Second Sight, they did almost all of the special features for that. And Criterion is just letting them pass them by. And a company that focuses on Jess Franco is tossing Criterion into the trash. I mean,
I don't understand. It seems insane. I get like, okay, they have the Criterion channel. That's great. But can you not, chew gum and walk at the same time? I don't understand.
Right.
Yeah.
And I felt the exact same way with them for releasing in 4K for so long. I mean, you are the premier Blu-ray label. Basically, you're the preferred home media market distributor for a lot of people for the
Mm,
last 40 years or whatever. You
mm,
got to step it up. I mean, the fact that they waited, what, 5 years into 4K before they released their first one
mm.
is astonishing. We got Tammy and the T-Rex in 4K before we got anything from Criterion.
Before Citizen
Multiple
Kane.
years.
Before Citizen Kane. Tammy the
Right.
T-Rex. What the hell? I guess there's Kino Lorber, but they don't have the same name recognition that Criterion has.
No, and they are actually on the opposite track. They had started out as, let's just release as many possible titles as we can and
Yeah.
hardly do any special features.
Mhm.
And they never did a lot of restorations in house. They mostly just got stuff handed to them by the studios.
Mhm.
And they saw that physical media was starting to take off a little bit again. So
Yeah.
they reversed course. And suddenly they are releasing fully special features loaded discs. They're doing a lot of restorations in house. All of their 4Ks have been astounding,
Mhm.
and it is amazing to see them step up because they used to kind of be, somebody that you'd be ashamed of loving because yeah, I love the movie, but they don't have, it's like loving your main course but never getting full.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna do the report card and then we went all over the place. And that's great. I love it.
Yep.
I love it. But let's go back to this. All right. So I went from for 2 Blu-rays from a partner label for Vinegar Syndrome, American Genre Film Archive. I remember when they started, it was like Zodiac Killer and Effects. I was like, what the hell is this? But now I'm really into it. I have I'm just trying to look. I have the Curious Dr. Hump, funny movie. I've got the scare films, the drug stories,
Nice.
lots of fun. What else? Scary Tales, I love.
Scary Tales is a great one.
Oh yeah, and Dark Soul, hilarious. It's like a live action Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
And then what else? I got the Sword of the Claw, which is like I like the bonus movie a lot in that. Just like typical Shaw Brothers style. And Take It Out in Trade, which is brilliant.
Brilliant. Yeah, they've done a lot of good stuff. The big thing is that they need a lot more support. They are a
Yeah.
full-blown nonprofit in the U.S.
Oh,
and a lot of
damn.
people don't realize that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They are literally here just to archive film, and they get their money not only through this, but they own the theatrical rights for
Mhm.
a shit ton of movies. So
Mhm.
if in my home city of Kansas City, there are a few theaters here that are independently ran, and they just decide on a whim to show some old catalog titles, basically, and they'll
Mhm.
go and pay AGFA about $350 to be able to screen something that night,
Mhm.
and they will screen it, and AGFA will make their money, and they didn't have to pay anything because they own the rights to it. So it's just a little bit of profit to keep them going, and then in the meantime, they can store to archive all of their discs. And this offshoot with Vinegar Syndrome has actually been pretty decent for them, and it's goes so far to my hope for people to support them that if you go on Amazon, you can choose when you check out to support a nonprofit, and they are a partner there that you can choose to give 4% of every purchase to AGFA.
Oh, that's cool. Wow,
Yeah.
you are a very helpful man. You're giving me a lot of good information. That is very interesting. Okay, so I went for She Freak.
Beautiful choice.
Thank you. David Friedman is, is just a staple of American cinema.
I agree.
Yeah. And I also went for Treasure of the Ninja in the films of William Lee.
Yes, that one is it's essential, but it's not quite as
Right.
essential as She Freak.
You essentially have to be intoxicated.
Basically, yeah.
that'll
A lot of people were when
be
they made
fun.
that, I guarantee it. Oh yeah.
All right. So there are so many sister or partner labels, whatever you want to say, on the site that sometimes I just don't know where to start. That being said, I've interviewed a couple of directors who have stuff on Altered Innocence.
Nice.
I interviewed the director of Lose, the German demonic movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, Lose is great.
Yeah. So that's a funny story. I was that movie played in 2018 at the Fantasia International Film Festival in Montreal, Quebec, which is like an hour and a half for me. So it was, just hop on a bus, get over there, stay there for a few days.
Perfect. Yeah.
Drink some beers, watch some movies, do interviews, enjoy life.
Sounds like a good time.
It's a good time. And the director Daniel Goldhaber, I think that's his name, and
That does sound right.
Yeah, and another buddy he was with, someone worked on the movie and a friend of his. They came to my apartment to do the interview, which is always a little weird when that happens. Like, I'm at the Airbnb, and then I had the guys who are doing that show Moon Knight do the same thing. Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson. They came to my Airbnb.
I love those guys. They do some really great work.
They're very cool. They're very cool in person. But it's like still kind of weird to have them in your zone like that.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like kind of it's never like a comfortable thing. I think but it's hard to pass too. You want to do the interview, you want to meet these guys.
Right.
But
I had that once or twice with bands when I was younger. I used to write for a couple sites when the internet was just becoming a little more popular, and I had one real memorable one. I had a band that needed a place to stay, so they stayed at my house. And the next morning, I was like, "Hey, you guys said you'd do an interview. Is that still all right?" And they're like, "Yeah, cool." And while they were sitting there on my couch, they're like fiddling around with my knickknacks and commenting on them. Yeah,
it's like, because when you're like in an uncomfortable room, it's like, okay, now we're doing an interview or something,
Right.
Yeah. But anyways, I interviewed Daniel, and then I interviewed the guy Fabrice Duels, who has a movie from Belgium on Alternate Innocence, but I don't remember the title. Do you know what I'm referring to?
I believe that's Adoration.
Let me look. I can't look it up because the Vinegar Syndrome site's down. Maybe you're right. It's the one with the kids. It's like two kids on the cover.
Oh, is it So Long Billy?
I don't know, man.
I could have swore it was Adoration. I think I have Adoration.
No. Adoration? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's what I thought, yeah.
I heard Aberration.
No, Adoration.
Yeah.
Adoration, I think is Altered Innocence's best film, for sure.
He's a cool guy, Fabrice Duels. His new movie, I was talking to him about that one at TIFF, is called Inexorable. And if you like the 90s erotic thriller vibe, which Vinegar Syndrome has a plethora of stuff, you're gonna like this one for sure.
I don't know if you're saying that because you saw it, but I made a plea very recently in a video that we desperately need a resurgence in 90s erotic thrillers to come back.
Well, shit, man. No, I didn't see that, but I'm gonna seek that out, or you can send it my way for sure. He's I didn't ask about Vinegar Syndrome or anything, but I was just like, I was thinking, what's that one? Deadly Weapon. Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, they've done a lot of stuff. It's pretty good.
Yeah, so I was getting that vibe. The craziest thing about Deadly Weapon is that I know someone who looks exactly like that main character.
I love when that happens. I did an interview on my channel with an indie horror director from New York just a couple weeks ago, and I swear he is the spitting image of a friend of mine, which would normally be weird enough, but he has the exact same mannerisms. Like, he moves all the same ways, and it felt obviously it was super comfortable speaking to him.
Yeah,
but it felt so weird to ask somebody questions where I'm like, I know you, I know your daughter, I know your husband. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I bet. So, and then there's one more that I saw, something from the director of someone with an Alternate Innocence, the director of The Wild Boys.
That's a pretty wild movie. That's for sure.
I saw his new movie called oh my god, After Blue, which
I've heard that was going to be really good.
It's something. It's really cool. It's like the thing is, it's like it played in the Midnight Madness category at TIFF, so it starts at midnight. So I had drank a fair amount of Hennessy that night, and I was dozing off for the first hour. And it's always great to do that because you wake up to the craziest images, and then you're like, well, I guess I had to stay awake or whatever. So I was like semi-conscious for the first hour, and then basically trying to figure out what had happened or the last hour. It's like definitely got like a Monty Python Holy Grail vibe, but way more LGBTQ plus acid head vibes, like for sure.
Interesting.
It was crazy. It was crazy. But I
I'm
haven't seen
into
the
it.
Wild Boys. But yeah, look out
Yeah, the Wild
for
Boys is
Iron
weird.
Ball.
It's like a weird, basically like an acid trip film. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And does it have his short films? Because I know he's got a bunch.
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, cool, cool. See, sometimes, sometimes I don't get something when the slipcover is sold out. I know that's silly.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Collector's mentality is a bitch, and
It's
it's
annoying.
hard when you miss something. And that one is one. I believe that one only had 500 slips when it got
That's
released, and
nothing.
that was during the last halfway to Black Friday sale, and it didn't even make it to the morning. And we just had one like that this sale where they released. Technically, it was a re-release. Summer of Fear, the Wes Craven film with Linda
Yeah,
Blair, and it had 1,000 slips, and it still sold out before I woke up the morning after the sale,
you gotta
which
be
is
quick with these sales, dude.
insane. Yeah,
You gotta be up at midnight. You kind of have to be.
that's for sure.
So, Fun City Editions is looks cool to me. I like that sort of vibe. And I went for Walking the Edge.
I knew that was going to come up.
Oh, damn.
This is that is one of their best films by far. Walking the Edge is a really really great one. Fun City Editions, in my opinion, has been the most consistent label for sure.
Mm,
Every single thing they've put out has been something that I think most people will enjoy, which unfortunately with Vinegar Syndrome, that's not true for a lot of the films. But
no.
with these partner labels, it really brings this diversity that somebody can grab onto. And what's cool is right now there are 14 different partner labels, and supposedly we're getting new ones announced just in 36 hours now.
Oh, really?
So yeah, on December 3rd when they reopen, we are supposedly getting at least one, if not two more partner labels, and even more coming next year. Uh, the best thing is that each one of these they have their own real identity, and it's crazy if you start to latch onto these partner labels, you can really hone in on what you want to watch, and it's really good to see it curated for you like that.
It's cool stuff. And that's nuts. That's a lot of partner
Yeah,
labels.
it is.
Do you think Seven should be one of those partner labels so that Psych can, get in line?
I think that was the best meme to come out of the sale. That was the funniest thing I'd heard this weekend. I adore Severin, and I have criticized them aplenty for their website over the years.
It's frustrating.
It is.
I remember on the halfway sale last year, and you had to do an email order. I was able to get in. I got my order in because I was in the group and I saw they said, "Oh, it's up now." It was like 15 minutes earlier than they had
Yep.
announced. I knew exactly what I wanted. I hopped in, I hopped out. And then I posted about it, and then they deleted it. The admin deleted it. Like, don't rub it in. Don't be an asshole.
I have been attending Severin sales since I think 2017,
Mm,
2018, somewhere around there,
yeah.
and there's not been a single sale that it has worked properly.
There was one. Last Black Friday worked fine.
It still went down.
Oh, it
If you went
did?
in there at midnight, it still went down. Yeah.
Okay.
It was the shortest time it has ever been down, but it did still go down.
Oh,
And I only know that because I was streaming live with someone at the time, and we were trying to get in there.
okay, fair enough.
But yeah, so few people wanted those titles last year that they were mostly fine. But you can
Yeah,
see there's something really wrong with their website if your lowest clamored for title still brought the website to its knees.
damn. I mean, I like more what they did this year, even though I didn't pull the trigger of just like do some new movies or,
Yeah.
over the past 20 years. But don't give me all this beautiful, elegant cheese and then give me something with Seth Green and that's it.
Yep. I get that.
It was cool though. Like I still went for it last year because there was stuff that I wanted to get half off. So whatever.
Right.
But anyways, so Walking the Edge though, tell me a little bit about that movie.
It is a crime thriller that is super unique. The big thing is I love when some of these films bring I don't really know a great way to explain it, but
Mm-hmm.
it gives like a character feel to the surroundings, and it's
Mm,
more of just a really well thought out plot. It's more of like Don't Look Now, the classic horror
mm,
film that was filmed
mm,
in Venice. Venice is literally like a character in that film,
mhm.
and you can feel that in every single shot, in every single scene, in every single turn that they make on the street, and it lives and breathes Venice, and I love that. But the big thing here is you got Robert Forster and Joe Spinell, and those two in a film together. First of all, everyone should be clamoring to buy that. It is Nancy Kwan's in it as well. It is this like really it's got like a dirty vibe to it, which is
Yes.
something that you really had to go to the underground back then. But Walking the Edge is a little more mainstream than that. So it's got a
Mhm,
better plot. It's more well thought out. It's shot well, and with
mhm.
that gritty vibe, it feels a lot more realistic. So it's a really good one.
Damn. And Joe Spinell, the great Joe Spinell.
Left us too soon.
I know. I mean, like, I guess freebasing cocaine and being into S&M will might
Is that
cut
not
things
good
a
for
little
you?
short. But oh god, I love the I don't have the 4K. I don't even have a 4K player, but I have the latest Blu-ray, I guess, of Maniac, and that is a great release.
It is great, and what's crazy is their 4K disc is even better, and
Yeah.
it shouldn't be that good because it was shot on 8 millimeter in the middle of the night in New York City with no permit, so they were running while they were filming it, and it is astounding how good it looks. Obviously, I've seen Maniac like 9 times before I saw that release, and
Mm,
I hesitated to buy it, but at the same
mm.
time, Blue Underground had already put out some of their Zombie came out, and it was a revelation on 4K. And then I said, I kind of trust them already for Maniac. We'll see what this is. And then it showed up, and I just, wow! Like the big thing is the HDR in that film. It is so great being able to see actual dark blacks being black instead of muddy gray is so nice. It is so nice to see it.
Damn, I had to invest in 4K, but then I needed a 4K TV, and that is again another expensive. But that maybe
Of
this year,
course.
maybe next year, we'll see. But um yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that one. I was sort of going for an oddball, tough guy vibe for a lot of my orders, so
Nice.
VSA is good for that. And I was going to say, here in Ottawa, the film industry is not much to brag about, but the director of Scanner Cop produces Hallmark movies here. And so Pierre David, he produced 3 movies for David Cronenberg, The Brood, Scanners, of course, and Videodrome. And I actually, I was studying script writing at community college here, and I had a placement on a Pierre David movie, and I didn't know the David Cronenberg connection. I didn't know he did Skinner Cop, but
Wow.
one thing is a lot of these guys were just smoking not because they smoke often, but because they just smoke and hang out on movie sets, and
Yep.
he's one of those guys. Someone gave him a cigarette, but he sort of has like a Jean Chrétien vibe. I don't know if you know Jean Chrétien. Okay, so he was just like, "Oh, you give me a cigarette, but you do not give me a lighter." And I was a smoker at the time. I'm an ex-smoker now. But, I just like the flame came out and I lit the cigarette, and he just turned over like, "Oh, you're a good boy," and it's just like the filthiest, like scare, like not scary, like lovable filth, I would say. And
Right.
I
Right.
and then I was rewatching Videodrome, and I realized Max what Rand whatever the character James Woods plays is Pierre David. That's who he is. It was amazing.
I love that film so much.
It's the shit. But do you tell me about the Scanner Cop release, because I'm pretty jazzed to at first I was like, when I saw it, I was like, Pierre David is in a documentary on Vinegar Syndrome talking about shit. forget that. That's ridiculous. And then I'm thinking, why not? Why shouldn't this guy be documented? And
Exactly.
it just seems funny to me. Yeah, it looks like a fun time.
Loaded release, really stoked that they dropped it to 50%. A lot of people were worried that they weren't going to because it's two 4K discs. That's
Yeah.
really pricey.
Yeah.
And yeah, they dropped it to 50%. And that, I mean, first off, that was the first time we saw packaging like that from them. You've already mentioned
Yeah.
slipcovers. This thing is a hard box with two slipcovers inside. So it is a little over the top compared to some other labels, but you really can't argue the presentation value of that. It comes off as prestige. And one of the things that is real important on my channel is I really try not to shit on any movies. And the creed that I try to live by is pretty much any film has been somebody's favorite film. In many situations, it was the director of the movie and it was his passion project, but it was his favorite movie for at least a couple days. Maybe there was an extra that has worshipped that movie ever since then. And with something like Scanner Cop, so many people didn't even know that there were Scanner sequels past part 3. And to have it be in the same universe, and then to get it, and you see that it's coming from Vinegar Syndrome, and you kind of get this unfortunate preconceived notion that it's probably going to be a terrible movie, and then it comes out and it's just amazing. Scanner Cop is good. The funny thing is Scanner Cop 2 is actually probably a bit better, and I really wish that they even went so far as to do a third one. Practical effect magic in those films, acting that is over the top, like way better than it should be for that type of film. And Vinegar Syndrome rescued it, and now it's something that we have literally thousands of people clamoring to purchase it, to talk about it, to learn from it, and just to enjoy it decades later. That's amazing. You can't get any better than that.
Yeah. I just, at first I think it was, I had to remember that there was a Scanner Cop because I reluctantly watched 2 and 3 and they're terrible. But the trailer is fun, and a buddy of mine sort of wanted to see it, so that's good enough reason, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. So I recently saw Malibu High on the big screen in my city.
Interesting.
And that was the first time screening for me, and I thought it was really wonderful. And so
that is one of my favorite Vinegar Syndrome movies. I'm just going to throw that out there.
That's a good one. I think my favorite is Putney Swope. But
Putney Swope is glorious. And funny enough, you keep mentioning them. I've got it.
Right nice. I have mine. I'm not going to run and get it. It's over. But to me, my top 3 comedies of all time: His Girl Friday, Putney Swope, Watermelon Man.
I've got Watermelon Man within reach too, I think. I love all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Putney Swope, the first time I watched that, I was recovering after a surgery on my foot and a little bit hopped up, and it was the best way to have that film. I had to watch that one a couple of days again later, but man, that one, again, it's kind of a version of blaxploitation. It's a great film, and it came in a month from Vinegar Syndrome, where a lot of people were kind of turned off. They put out 4 films that everybody called the art house month, and all 4 are great. I still don't understand. I mean, they took a little sidestep for a month, and some people were very unhappy, but man, it really brought some gravitas to the collection.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And I remember it was because I had seen the Eclipse version on DVD, which is like for people who don't know, was a DVD only series on Criterion, and they had just cool themes like early films of Raider or Fast or whatever. But I remember seeing some of those other Robert Downey Sr. movies, and oh boy, they sucked, in my opinion. Like there's just nothing like Putney Swope. There's no movie like Putney Swope. There's no movie, not even movies with Robert Downey Sr. I showed it to a buddy, and he said, "We got to watch more movies like that." And I said, "You can't, because there aren't any."
Let's just watch it again.
Yeah, it's its own style. It's its own style. It's a singular movie for sure. But I thought Malibu High was really funny in a revolting way. You know, the lines are delivered for laughs, and they're also giving a cultural truth as well. That
For
is
sure.
harsh. So it's got a lot of sting, but damn, that's a funny movie.
It is, and the funny thing is that the original poster for it is completely wrong for that film.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Obviously, it really lends to the black comedy side of things, but really, I think that has probably turned a lot of people off to that movie. And Vinegar Syndrome originally had released it without a slipcover, and the original art on the insert, it is something that you see, and you kind of start to picture like early '80s teen beach sex comedy, and
I know.
it is the furthest thing in the world from that, and
Yeah,
it's so good. And thankfully they released a slip for it. I believe it's sold out now, but
yeah,
that
I
slip,
didn't get this one.
it looks so much better for that film. It actually fits the tone. I love it.
Yeah, it does. It looks really cool. I went for the slip for an older movie. Don't Go in the Woods. That's what I went for, which I of course regret.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like a
That,
decent movie, but Malibu High is way better.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So finally, my last purchase in this sale was the VSA movie, Whatever It Takes, which I assume will be just as good as Savage Harbor, but weaker than LA Wars.
Uh, I actually think you're going to be pleasantly surprised then. Um, I,
Okay.
I think it is a lot better than Savage Harbor. And LA Wars, I wasn't as charmed by as it,
Mm.
or I wasn't charmed by it as a lot of people were.
Mhm.
I do think Action USA is still on the action side, probably the best of the bunch from them. But
Mm.
Whatever It Takes is surprisingly good.
Mm.
I think one of the main reasons is the cast. The cast just actually works, and it is as somebody when you're looking back in time, it's not something that you can really get past without seeing those faces.
To see the Dice Man and the Hammer, I mean, that's enough of a reach.
Andrew Dice Clay is incredible, and I'm just laughing all the time when I realize he's been in multiple Vinegar Syndrome releases.
Which one were the other ones?
Wacko is the other one.
Ah,
Wacko, he is in. He was very young then, and I believe he even sings in one scene in that film.
that's funny. I love LA Wars. The first time I saw it, I didn't love it, but I've seen it. I'm going to say 3 or 4 times, and it really grew on me.
Yeah, it is certainly it is the upper echelon of VSAs, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's good. That's a good time, and you gotta act fast on those because when they're gone, they're gone.
For the most part, the first half of the VSAs had that excerpt written on the description that they were when it's gone, it's gone. But the last, I want to say 6 or 7 have said when they sell out, we might be re-releasing them as a standard edition.
Okay,
So that may not be as true anymore unless you're really, really hooked to that packaging.
okay. Well, that's good to know. And I
Yep.
saw you were for the new VSAs. You were oh god, what's the Cynthia Rothrock trilogy called again?
Tiger Claws.
Tiger Claws. So you're into that, but you were less into TS 1200. Is that what it's called?
I think it's TC 2000.
Okay, you're right. TC 2000.
I've never seen TC 2000. I've seen the first
Oh,
Tiger Claws film.
yeah.
The big thing to me is as a subscriber, the
Mm,
price difference. I already basically get those at 50% off of the
mm,
MSRP, and it's the Tiger Claws is a trilogy of films,
mm,
and
mm.
it was literally only $3 or $4 more than TC 2000 for me.
Yeah, yeah,
So it was a lot more content for barely any more films or any more cost. And
yeah,
then on top of that, I love Cynthia Rothrock. Everybody
yeah,
does. It's in your blood.
yeah, yeah,
Billy Blanks is a different story.
yeah.
The trailer for TC 2000 didn't wow me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I yeah.
I'm gonna give it a watch after this stream. It's on
From what
YouTube.
I see, yeah, I
Yeah,
hear it's on YouTube and maybe on Tubi as well.
yeah. I saw Martial Law in 2 weeks today. Actually, fun movie.
A bunch of Vinegar Syndrome titles are on Tubi for free.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a great way to see if you want to watch the movie. See if it's on Tubi.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Doing it legally. Yeah.
I talked about that Fantasia trip in 2018. My crown jewel of that trip was 10 minutes with Cynthia Rothrock.
Nice.
Yeah, and it is easily my highest viewed video on YouTube. That was
That
a party.
she's got a lot of fans out there. She's done a lot of work,
True.
and a lot of it has literally been excellent. Not all of them are gems, but a
No,
lot of the stuff that she's touched were gold.
I love martial law movies like that where everybody's fighting for like 5 minutes and nobody gets shot and nobody really even gets knocked out. It's so funny. Like what
Everybody's
Cliff
so
Booth
great at
says,
fighting, but nobody is a victim.
right, right. Well, like what Cliff Booth says, like dancing instead of fighting. It's a
Yep.
great time though. It's good cinema.
It is. It's super entertaining.
Yeah. So we talked about this, but I'm very stoked for Ebola syndrome. I didn't pull the trigger, but I think I might because it looks like, and you're the man to ask, Forgotten Gialli 4 is coming January.
Yes.
That's happening.
Yes, sir.
And one of the titles is announced. What's it called again?
Arabella Black.
Okay. And what do we know about this one?
It is, I believe, an early 80s Italian, if I'm remembering right. I don't think I've seen Arabella Black before.
All right.
I'm waiting for this box, and I believe we've the hints so far are hinting that the other two coming with that are both pretty sleazy. So if sleaze factor is your
Yeah.
thing, that might be a good one to pick up.
Oh, well, I'm getting 4. I've gotten all 3 of them so far. I have them all here. I have a Giallo shelf. I have Forgotten Gialli, Death Blocks Twice, the
Nice.
Lindsay Baker, which I know you like.
It's a great
I
set.
got the limited. Oh, I love this thing. I got this bad boy.
That is such a wonderful release.
Oh yeah, the Giallo-thon's a great time. Throw it on in
It
a
really
party.
is.
Everybody's walking around. What the hell is this? It's fun. And then I have not the 4K, but it's still a very respectable release. Still a classic.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the Giallo show. I didn't know I was going to do that show, but what the hell? But Ebola syndrome, I might just pull the trigger on that one to get the free shipping. Throw in a little Forgotten Gialli 4 and Ebola syndrome. That's a good
Smart.
That's a good buy to me, I think. But
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah. And like you're saying, maybe there'll be more Hong Kong movies on Blu-ray. But there was sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Brad Henderson from Vinegar Syndrome was talking about Ebola syndrome, and on Twitter responded to somebody and literally, in less words, confirmed that they do have more Hong Kong cinema coming.
Ooh. You were saying in a video that there was something about Chinese law. Okay, so tell me about that. What's going on there?
I can't remember the date. It was either late 2019 or early 2020. Mainland China made a law about censoring films, and they are allowing certain things to be brought back under their umbrella and taking out the content as they see fit before they license it out elsewhere. So the licenses that are already in place may literally be like our last chance at getting these films uncut, unless something changes in the future. But they don't have like the motivation to archive these movies properly if they're just going to censor them. So the worry is that they're going to take in these elements and then destroy them. There are other countries like Brazil there's some amazing films that came out of Brazil, especially through like the 60s, 70s, early 80s, and they just never archived their elements. So they are all in such poor shape that we can't even restore them, because you touch them and they literally just fall apart. So we are literally losing cinema, and that's why companies like I mentioned with the AGFA are so important, because they are, taking things, restoring them, temperature controlling them, making sure that we have them scanned in forever and we're preserving them. So it really pays to support these companies, and Vinegar Syndrome is the perfect example of that. Their parent company is OCN Distribution, and they have, I believe, the second largest archive of films in the US to AGFA.
Wow. Damn. Well, I mean, people should donate some of their money to AGFA.
Absolutely.
I mean, there are a lot of great causes, and someone might say, and I think it's a legitimate question, why, should I put my resources to this and not, kids on the street or whatever, what have you. But I think it's like, what kind of society do we want to live in without, great cinema? I mean, our art speaks for us. It's like, it's our representation.
Right, and beyond that, it is a way that we can go with the classic moniker of if you don't learn from your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And with our cinema, if you are, not taking in some of these things that have been more progressive and shown the way that we were able to tackle sensitive topics back in the day, people are able to erase those literally out of existence. And it shows through some of the censorship today, not only the Hong Kong thing, but I mean, you have mainstream shows like 30 Rock, the big title on NBC. They took down full episodes from streaming because of a couple jokes in a couple of the episodes. And unless you have it on physical media, it's impossible to see it now. You can't buy it on iTunes. You can't stream it. You can't. It's literally nowhere else. But because I've got the DVD and the Blu-ray, I can pop it in and watch it.
Yeah, yeah, it's good stuff. And God, that's good to know that you can donate on Amazon Dag Fund. That's
Yeah.
You're giving us some jewels right now. So do you think 2022 will be a good year for collectors?
Since about 2018, every year I've
Yeah.
looked back at the year and said, this was the golden year in physical media that we are going to have. Nothing will be able to top this. And I said
Yeah.
that in 2018, 19, 20, and I don't feel like I'm gonna have a choice but to say it again this year. We have so many physical media labels that are focusing on these films that there are titles that never made it to DVD that are making the leap to 4K. We have I have a series on my channel of boutique labels that I collect from, and I call it Boutique Labels I Collect, and so should you. And each one has had somewhere between 8 and 10 labels, and I've already put out, I think, 6 or 7 of those videos, and I still have, I think, 2 or 3 more to go. So the fact that we have somewhere around like 65 labels that you could choose to collect from, and that's not even all of them. That's just the ones that I have here that I've chosen to collect from. That's wild. When we are getting something like Ebola syndrome in 4K, that is a Category 3 Hong Kong film released by a label that will produce more than 10,000 copies of it. That is astonishing.
That's a win. All right. Well, we've been talking for a while. It's been a ride. I hope we can do this in the future.
Yes, please. Happy to come back.
Great. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.